Hey folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Thursday, January 22nd, 2009. Well, guys, as we get into today's intraday market, we're going to talk some wild swings. We're also going to talk some pattern recognition and note the key inverse head and shoulder pattern that developed in the market mid-afternoon and really completed itself over the last hour. Number one, you're looking at the futures chart here on the 10-minute, the ESH9 March 09 E-mini S&P 500 contract, and the first thing you want to note is the ugly move early in the day, and it was ugly, folks, as Microsoft came out pre-market and released earnings, and the earnings were not good either. Number one, you have to look at the fact that Microsoft was supposed to report after the bell today. Instead, they reported this morning, catching the market off guard. You know the market does not like to be caught off guard. In addition, the earnings came in much lower than expected, as you saw PC sales drop dramatically over the last quarter. All right, in tune with that, we'll flip to a Microsoft chart, and you can see what happened today. Here's where Microsoft closed yesterday, up near $19.50. Here's where it opened in the $18 range and continued to sell, recovering a little bit this afternoon, but nonetheless down $1.80 on the day. And Microsoft is seeing prices it has not seen since I'd say 1998 or so. All right, in tuning into Microsoft, let's go back to the futures, and what you are seeing is that intraday period here on the 10-minute, and you can see you have an intraday head and shoulder pattern, and which I'm going to talk a little bit more about. But first, let's talk about what happened here early in the day. 8:30 in the morning. All right, this is how it starts. Jobless claims come out, 590,000 approximately jobless claims. The market begins to sell off right here at 8:30. Here's your 8:30 candle. All right, you come down into the 9 o'clock hour, right above the 200 moving average. Note this 200 moving average in green that strikes across the screen. That's where we were sitting prior to Microsoft's announcement. Microsoft comes out, all of a sudden the futures spike lower, consolidate, drop, consolidate, drop, all the way into the lows of the day, right around 11:30, 12 o'clock today. Now, this is the key, folks, is you have to always be looking for pattern recognition, and on the downside, you should be seeing this drop and consolidation in a bear flag pattern, which should yield another drop. Right to here, consolidation, another drop, and so forth into the lows of the day. Now, what you want to be looking at here, as the market starts to bounce up, now you begin to create that head and shoulder or inverse head and shoulder, as it may be. And drawing that inverse head and shoulder pattern, as I will do for you, you can see this move in here beginning to progress. All right, what does that mean when you have a head and shoulder pattern, a very bullish pattern, the inverse head and shoulder, I should make that clear. The inverse here, it's an upside down head and shoulder pattern. Here's a shoulder, head, and shoulder, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the top of that candle, draw it straight down to the high point of this point right here. That's the breakout line. Note how it also creates a bull flag pattern right above the 20. So you had multiple things working for you in this situation to isolate a possible breakup in this market. And the breakup was huge. I mean, you saw these futures go from being down, 25, 30 points to only being down a couple points at the high. You are getting a little bit of a pull-off after that pattern came to fruition, and I'm going to show you that, how you knew where that was probably most likely going. At least looking back on it here, you can see the clear area right here of resistance that you came into before this little bit of a pullback. But in any case, note the pattern, how all of a sudden you broke up here in the early afternoon portion, and then you started to consolidate, and it's a beautiful in spirit of bull flag right above the 20 moving average, and that was right along the breakout line. Notice, just connect the high point here to the high point right here on the neckline, and you're getting these consolidation candles. As soon as that breaks above, the market starts to scream. Look at the volume increase down here as well. Huge move up in this market as you take it all the way up to the point where the markets were almost back to the flat line. All right, the market continues to sell off a little bit here and pull back, which it was long overdue. I mean, you have a move like that, you got to anticipate a little bit of a pullback. But in any case, just an unbelievable move. And right now, the market, the Dow sitting down about 82 points on the day, NASDAQ down 26, and the S&P down about 8. Now, it's interesting because you were coming off Apple having a monster after-hour session on earnings yesterday, but really once Microsoft came out, that trumped everything. Believe it or not, I guess the shock of Microsoft was too much for Apple to handle, and even though Apple's still trading up on the day, still up about $5-6, the Microsoft news took all the rest of the sectors down with it. and kept the NASDAQ to the downside here, down about 26 points, or about 1.5% across the board. Dow down 1%, and the S&P down about 1% as well. Now, the key here, folks, is when you have this bullish flag pattern forming and a possible head and shoulder breakout, you have to be ready to watch for this break. In addition, notice how the first line takes you right to the 50 moving average, where that candle then pulls off, closes, then you trade down a little bit, but then you break above. The next one takes you right into this 200 moving average, at which point, when you break that point, where do you go? Take a look here. What's your 8 o'clock high in the morning on the futures right before the bad news started to trickle in? Draw a line directly across, and what do you get? All right. So that's your completion of your head and shoulder pattern, guys. Great head and shoulder pattern here. And now you're seeing the pullback. Look for support at the 200 moving average right here. Ultimately, if you pull back more, you could look for the next support line at the 50 moving average, and then ultimately at the 20 right down here. Now keep in mind, these moving averages, every candle will be creeping higher. Now I want to go to the intraday 60 minute to show you as well what you had here. Number one, the monster move down going back to Tuesday here. Tuesday, big move down. That was that huge sell-off. Then we had the big reversal, which basically eclipsed the whole move. And if you draw a line in here, you can see that from the highs here, you got basically back to it, but you didn't take it out. And notice the 60-minute 200 moving average was creeping down as well, putting some pressure on the upside. Then in addition, the sell-off today, where did it take us to? Took us right down towards the lows of the day. Not to the absolute lows from yesterday or from the day before, but just a little bit above, right to this line right in here, right a little bit above right in here. This area of support right here, guys. These two lines that I'm drawing in right down into this area was very good support. Now, the one thing of interest, guys, also notice this. Connect the low point from this chart to the lows here and draw that through, okay? And let me try to do that exactly as I can here. There we go. Guys, look at that. So you have additional support line coming creeping up, and I can erase these lines too as well. Just taking the lows to the lows to the lows, and you have figured on the 60-minute you're going to have very good support right at this area. Turned out to be a fantastic buying opportunity. On the upside, look at a 3-bar surge. Takes you right up, piercing the 20 moving average. Now notice you're now pulling back off the 20 moving average to the downside and right back below the 20 moving average on the intraday 60 minute. Now again, watch for consolidation off this move, and that's going to be the key, is over the next couple days, do we consolidate and then make another break up towards this 200? And note this, guys, major resistance right up here around this, right between these two lines, is going to be major resistance on the 60 minute if we do ever get back there in the next day or so. And you can know that because you have the tops of these candles right in here. In addition, you have the 200 moving average on the 60-minute creeping right into that area as well. So there's a lot of, if you ever were to break this 20 moving average, a lot of resistance right up here on the SPY and the futures charts. Keep an eye on the downside. You now have support established right here at the 50 moving average. On this blue line, you have the 50, and I can draw a line in right there where that is. Here's the 50 moving average creeping across. Ultimately, if you pull back into that, it could be a buying opportunity, and it also looks to be about a 50% Fibonacci retrace on the ES futures here. All right, volume 2.23 million contracts, 2.25 million. Pretty good volume for a little after 2:30 p.m. in the markets, and we'll continue to watch this market. But a monster move, folks, and the futures are beginning to uptick again, flipping back to the intraday. You have a little bit of a push starting again to the upside, and we'll see if we get some more upside momentum in this market. Tremendous reversal, and we've been seeing this type of volatility lately, guys. Just unbelievable volatility in this market the last 4 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, really the last 3 days, but even going back to last Friday as well, you had some of that volatility. Keep in mind, folks, that's all we're going to do today, but join the Research Center at InTheMoneyStocks.com this evening for an up-to-date call on where do we think the market will be going. We actually called for this down day yesterday and the day before. We had alerted everyone that Thursday, Friday to be very cautious on some volatility coming in the market, and you can see what happened here today on this monster move down, then a monster reversal, and who knows where we go to the close. But again, we'll alert everyone in the Research Center this evening about our projections, our support lines, resistance, pivot days, turn dates, oil, gold, the dollar, you name it. We'll all talk about it. We'll cover it all, give key levels to watch for or to trade off of. Take care. Join the chat room, guys. We just added video as well to the chat room. You can watch live traders charts right now on the chat room, and it's a fantastic addition, and everyone very happy in there as we continue to make money on various plays and trades. Take care.